Hey, you
Go
got
ahead,
horns
go
on.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
And that would look even better in a double page spread, John.
And you know what? Roger would still like me better in the double spread. I just every time dare share a black and white Aurora. Hey, and guess what? Going
What?
to do two Aurora workshops. They're both full already, but up in Yellowknife again this year. Oh, well,
Wow.
2025. Yeah.
Wow.
So September and I'm going to have more double page spreads. Brooks is going to want a whole new version two of Black.
Double fold outs.
But you know what I'm going to do? They're not going to be called Rhythm of the Aurora. They're going to be called what? You gave me a better name. What was
The
it?
curtain
Heavenly Curtains or
curtains to the soul. I don't know.
I know, yeah. We'll come up with
The curtains of heaven.
Curtains of Heaven, I think is what
That's a good one. Yeah.
it's actually a good one, yeah.
So,
So
John, I've loved getting letters from people who have watched our show or people who have responding to a question I post in my email
yeah.
newsletter. And I got one recently that was really kind of inspiring and I think an example of making the most of what you've got and not focusing on what you don't got.
Oh, interesting.
I've got a
Interesting.
gentleman named Hal Kahn who wrote me and told me his story. And I put together a short slideshow of some
Okay.
of his images, and I'd like to tell his story. So let me go ahead and share this screen. And I've called this Hal Kahn Photographing Despite Our Limitations. So let me get his story out. How can I lose my phone when I'm sitting right here? Oh, here it is. Found it. And let me read his story. My
Okay.
story briefly is that I'm almost 74 and have been ill since 1997. Before that, I worked as a reporter and editor in the newspaper business. I took up photography after my health failed. He said that his health failed in 1997 and he started shooting seriously in 2011.
Huh.
And he says that this illness has pretty much made him completely homebound.
Wow.
That I became an old man at the age of 45 and I started relating to older people. And so the problem is that he can't get out. So he made up these posters asking for older people who would like to have their photograph, their portrait created. And they would come to his home and he would work inside his home.
Hmm.
And here's some of the photographs from Hal and very brief stories for each one. Trying to send the slideshow forward. There we go.
Wow.
This woman was a nurse in Texas and was raped so brutally that she required surgery. After that, she had to stop working and began spending a lot of time on her roof, keeping watch for intruders.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
This was a coal miner in the Four Corners area. I always ask each person about the hardest day of their life. For this fellow, it was retrieving the body of his 2-year-old son after the boy fell into a well and drowned.
Yikes.
This man was actually singing, even though it looks like he is crying. He was a sailor in the Pacific during World War II and said that music got him through the war. When his ship docked in San Diego for R&R, the other men would go looking for girls and beer. This man went to the library and checked out opera scores.
Wow.
This man survived alcoholism, cocaine, and prostate cancer. After photographing and interviewing each person, I would always ask if there was any other photo I could do for them. Usually, an older woman would take out a photo of her grandchild and have me photograph her holding the photo by her head. This chap asked if he could take off his clothes. And then he went back out into his car, brought in a sword, and spent about 20 minutes jumping around the room and waving the weapon.
Wow.
This woman's photo was taken at age 92, 2 hours after she was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. I always asked each person about the happiest time in their lives. For this British lady, it was the German bombing of London during the Battle of Britain. She said, "We never knew if we would live till morning. So every night she picked up a different serviceman for sex."
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
This woman was a judge who left the bench due to alcoholism and became a drama teacher. The smile came out when discussing how she and her husband, also a lawyer, met while visiting clients in prison. It was a rainy day and they shared an umbrella entering the heavily guarded facility. This woman was raped in her early 40s. She said it was liberating because in those days women were expected to be virgins before marriage. So after the rape, she enjoyed a rich sex life. Sadly, her daughter died at age 17 while fighting off a rapist. She had been stabbed 84 times. This is the only volunteer who I asked to return for a second shoot. When she told me her brother had murdered their mother, I asked how she dealt with this tragedy. She said it was because of her faith. So I asked her to come back again with some symbol of her religion.
Wow.
This woman was the happiest of more than 100 volunteers. I asked the source of her happiness, and she said it was because she gave away both of her children at birth. Then she went on to become a psychologist. I found her to be exceptionally kind.
Mm.
This was quite an interesting communication I had with Hal. The first thing that struck me was we all, whether we say it outrightly or through our actions, seem to go to iconic locations around the world thinking those will produce incredible images. And here's a man who is confined to his home, who tires easily, and found a way to photograph there.
Not only photograph, but holy cow.
And that's the second thing that impressed me. He obviously has this incredible ability to get people to open up and to become their honest selves for the camera. And what a skill that is.
Oh, I can't. It's just they are heartbreaking, many of them, but powerful beyond powerful.
And there's another thing that made me think about. We often say an image shouldn't require an explanation or words.
Hmm.
And yet, think of the power both the photo and the words bring to the viewer.
Yeah.
Neither the photo or the words by themselves would be as powerful as the two combined.
No, and we invoke that Brooks Jensen guy again, but Brooks talks about that, how words and images together can oftentimes be so much more. And in this, I mean, it's overwhelming how powerful that those two together are. Piercingly so.
Pretty amazing what he did in his front room.
Yeah. Now, do you know if he watches the show?
I think that oh, that's right. He responded to one of my newsletters and I told him about the show so that he would be informed when this episode came
Oh,
up.
good, good.
Yeah.
Hal, thank you so much. Extraordinary work.
Yeah.
Really, I
Amazing
mean,
work.
breathtakingly extraordinary. And Hal, I hope you're listening. We keep talking about Brooks Jensen. If you are not familiar with Len's work, I'd be surprised if you're not. Please, please,
Mm,
please submit that work with the words, with these little stories. That needs to be published for the world to see. Those are amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that, Cole. I don't think anything else needs to be said. I think the message is pretty loud and clear. Um, yeah, I feel incredibly humbled, by that. And again, thank you for that, sharing that.